It's his face, Melanie and Chuck. The Pulse Morning Jumpstart. Positive hits, Pulse FM.
Well, we're climbing just a smidge. It's 22 right now at 7:49. Today's high is 41.
Our friends from Goodwill are here. And Debbie, you have a new friend sitting to your right. Could you introduce him to us, please?
I can. It is Isaac Hunt, and he oversees our group violence intervention initiative.
Isaac, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I was thinking about you as we had this conference call the other day. And so one of my jobs, Isaac, I get here early to put our news together. And it seems like in 2019, there's usually a gun story in our news, which I'm not a big fan of. Are you dealing with that?
Yes, we've been working on that for approximately 6 years now. We got the distinct pleasure of being one of the social services, 78 social services that's partnered together, and Goodwill being the lead social service to try to reduce gun violence in our city.
How do you do that?
But it's about being proactive, about getting out in the community. A lot of times individuals self-identify themselves and we reach out and touch them and have conversations and build relationships. And then do an assessment of them and have a conversation. Once we do the conversation and assessment, we try to see what barriers they have and see what we can try to eliminate the barriers of what's causing the beefs and conflicts within our community.
Why do you think there's so much here?
I think one of the reasons is a lack of understanding how to deal with conflict resolution. A lot of it is social media. A lot of it is some of it's quality of life, and also of trauma. We have a lot of trauma in our community.
Yeah, there's more than just one factor that comes into the decisions that kids, adults make these days.
Most definitely. And it's an honor to even be asked to be able to head this up. When Deb Cole asked me would I oversee this part of it, at first I was kind of leery. Then I was like, this is something that we can really make a change and effective in our whole community, and also provide a wraparound service for everybody within the community.
Now, Debbie, I sense that there's a lot of networking within Goodwill. So somebody who comes through Isaac's program, might they be referred over to Justin's program then as part of that?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we truly try to do is when we do the assessment of an individual, and we really try to also take the mentality of the whole family. Because if you go back to our mission about strengthening families, empowering families, and strengthening community. So whatever the individual needs, whatever we have internally, we're going to make those connections with them. So whether it is through the Excel because they need a high school diploma, maybe a member of the gang that Isaac is working with, he has a girlfriend who maybe is pregnant. So we're going to refer her to Nurse Family Partnership. There may be somebody who's unemployed. So we're going to work with them to get them employed, because as you can touch the entire family, you can help lift them up. And when they see other opportunities and they start to taste a different type of success, it's amazing what can happen. And one of the things that with this program that is so important to me is the fact that, we use the tagline, donate, shop, change a life. With group violence intervention, it's save a life. So what you don't hear a lot about, we hear the numbers of shootings that are going on, and there have been more this year. But what you don't hear, because of this group violence intervention, the number of retaliatory shootings that have not happened, because this team is boots on the ground. Whenever there's a shooting, they're there with the police department, and they're working with the victims of that to talk them down, to work with them. So their immediate reaction is to go retaliate. They're in the hospitals, they're talking to the victims, and they're working with them as well as the ones who have actually done the shooting, so that we haven't seen higher numbers than we actually have. It could be a whole lot worse.
In case this is like a first time for someone hearing about Isaac and that program, Debbie, is there more information? Can I go somewhere specifically to find out more about that?
Absolutely. Goodwill-ni.org.
What are you smiling at me for? You know my tricks now?
I do. I'm catching on here.
Show of hands. Anyone in this room likes sports? Anybody in this room? It's dedicated to you. What's about to happen right here. Chuck Freeby's got sports. Smiling into the camera.
I will do my best. A surprising shakeup on the Notre Dame football staff. Offensive coordinator Chip Long has been dismissed by head coach Brian Kelly after 3 seasons. Lon had the most productive offense in the Kelly era, but he never seemed to fit in with the rest of the staff, so he won't be calling the plays for the Camping World Bowl on December 28th. We have no idea who will be, although my guess would be Brian Kelly. 'Tis the season for coaching moves. The former BC head coach Steve Adazio moves to Colorado State. Willie Taggart, who was at Florida State, is now the boss of Florida Atlantic. Now to basketball. Notre Dame's women had their best offensive output of the year last night at Purcell Pavilion. Problem is they had their worst defensive performance of the season. DePaul comes in and hits 16 three-pointers on the way to a 105-94 win over the Fighting Irish. Sam Brunell, the freshman, did have 31 for Notre Dame. Also last night, number 12 Indiana goes to 9-1 on the season with a 64-53 win over Butler. Men's side, there hasn't been a road win in Big Ten play, and Michigan found that out the hard way last night. The fifth-ranked Wolverines lose at Illinois 71-62. Locally, Grace wins its fourth straight with a 77-65 win over Holy Cross. NBA Zach LaVine scores 35. The Bulls maul Atlanta 136-102. Malcolm Brogdon's 29 points lead Indiana to a 122-117 win over Boston. Prep Scene Plymouth's girls fall in double overtime to Chesterton 58-51. Other girls winners last night, Tippy Valley and Warsaw. Great night of high school wrestling. Lakeshore on the fifth criteria beats Mishawaka 32-31. Meanwhile, huge upset in the NIC as Riley knocks off Penn 42-35. Baseball, the Angels signed free agent third baseman Anthony Rendon. 7 years, a cool $245 million. And also in baseball news, the former White Sox announcer Hawk Harrelson is headed to the Hall of Fame. He is selected as this year's Ford Frick Award winner for broadcasting. We have sports weekday mornings at 6:50 and 7:50. On your home for IU basketball, it's the Hoosiers in Nebraska tomorrow night at 8. Chuck Freeby, Pulse FM Sports.
Pulse FM Sports, powered by The Car Company. Are you shopping for a new car? Make your way over to thecarcompany.com. A great selection of vehicles, guaranteed credit approval. The Car Company. Visit them in Goshen or online at